Alright, so we're going to be watching Mid's video on the Luna 2 lore analysis and theories. Act 3 and 4, it's about the Act 3 and Act 4, which is, yeah, Luna 2. I'm really excited to see this, see like what like theories she'll come up with, and it'll be good to go over the quest again, definitely, because from recording this, the live stream for Luna 3 is tomorrow. I did do a video about my thoughts on like what I might expect with Luna 3 and stuff, like because it's like an interlude and stuff. If you want to check out that video, make sure you do. It's like I was pretty much saying that for the art, I wasn't as excited just because, well, it was I kind of expected like Wanderer in being in the art. I kind of expected Wanderer. I mean, we all expected Wanderer, but it's like Arlecchino on the other hand, we didn't expect. So if that was the reason why I wasn't as like crazy about it, but. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. I'm just confused what's going to happen in Luna 3, like straight up confused. It seems like it's going to be like a break, like a celebration, but then I'm curious at the one, like, I guess Wonder is going to be looking for Dottore, right? But is Dottore going to be in the patch? I don't know, but yeah, I guess we'll see, right? But anyway, we're going to watch this. We've got Sertologi. I guess that's Rhindaughter, right? That's Venophania. I guess that's Reria, and that's the other one. I actually don't know the last one. Let's go.
The five sinners of Conria were once some of the most respected people in the land. Leaders, geniuses, model citizens of the nation. But whether out of selfishness, desperation, or a willful surrender to the abyss, they fell so very far from grace. In Luna 2, we finally get our very first close look at one of the big bads of Genshin Impact. But the question is, was Rerir truly evil? Or was he way more human than we'd like to believe? This video took me much longer than usual to make, partly because I got sick right when the patch dropped.
Oh, okay. Oh no. Oh, she's better. I guess she is. I guess she is better.
Distracted.
Oh my god, she made herself in the game. There's no way, bro.
Right when the patch dropped, and I got distracted.
She made herself go to days leave. That's crazy. Oh my god, but yeah, I was going to say, I feel like he was, like, evil. Like, obviously, he was adopted, and I guess he was taught from a, like, young age to do, like, kill and stuff. And obviously, like, he was worried that if he rejected what he was doing, he would be, like, killed or thrown out or something. So, I guess he needed to do it to keep his livelihood at stake, but, I mean, having to do something doesn't mean it's, you know, a good thing, right?
Way more human than we'd like when the patch dropped, and I got distracted. But today, finally, we're diving deep. This is the full lore breakdown and theory analysis of Luna 2, Acts 3 and 4, where we'll talk about Rerir, Thalindus, and what their story means for the future Archon quests. We'll look at Durin's involvement, the mysterious figures working behind the scenes, and the possible truths about Nicole's real identity. Where is Dottore in all of this? And what did Hoyo shockingly and satisfyingly confirm about Sandrone? Let's start with Rerir.
Oh yeah, the last bit. I didn't really understand it, but I actually understood a bit more when I watched Briar's reaction, that it was actually like, yeah, Sandrone in that picture. As like, I don't want to say, I want to say a kid, but I don't know if like calling her a kid is right because she's a fucking robot. Like, is she a robot? It sounds like she is, but she does a fucking like Lynette speech, you know, shutting down, like, what was it, like, conversation mode activated, you know, shit like that. So I don't know 100% if she's a robot. I guess she like is, but I actually don't 100% know, but yeah, she was like there and stuff.
He was infamously remembered as one of the five sinners. Rerir was no one special. Just a quiet government worker with a steady job, a woman he loved, and a life that, on the surface, seemed completely...
Yeah, I was gonna say like an ordinary life. Kinda, not really.
Ordinary. He wasn't exceptionally powerful. He wasn't noble. He was normal.
I feel like he was skillful at executing people, which makes him kind of powerful, in a way.
But that's what makes his story terrifying, because somewhere along the way, something changed. And for centuries, no one really knew why. Not until Nefer came along. When Nefer began digging into Rerir's past during the Luna 2 Archon quest, she discovered the secrets he maybe never meant for the rest of the world to see. To his lover Thalindus, Rerir was a humble Kingsguard. To his friends, he was a loyal intelligence officer. But to himself, he was something far darker. Because behind that uniform...
Wait, he made up 3 different things between. What if his friends met the Lindis and they go, man, he is such a good intelligence officer? It's like the Lindis like, wait, huh? Wait, what? I thought he was like a royal guard. Wait, what? Even that's bad in itself.
Form behind that tired smile, Rerir was an executioner. Under direct orders from King Irmin himself, Rerir was tasked with hunting down the last remnants of an ancient bloodline, the descendants of the Crimson Moon dynasty. Because while most of us grew used to hearing about the Eclipse dynasty, the rulers of Conria before the Cataclysm, there was another line that came before it, a dynasty that was nearly wiped from history. The Crimson Moon dynasty.
Yeah.
But why did King Irmin want them gone?
That was the one before, right? Like that was like before the Crimson Moon, and then obviously the Eclipse Moon took over.
Right.
And
why
that's
did
why
he
it's
trust
called
the Moon
Eclipse
dynasty?
Moon.
But why did King Irmin want them gone? And why did he
I'm
trust
guessing they just didn't want to. I'm guessing they just didn't want to rise up to power, or like spread their beliefs.
a common man to carry out such a task?
I've been excited to receive this for a very long time. The book. The ultimate guide to
Wow, the book. I was gonna say, wait, what? Oh.
So either Rerir is hunting survivors of the
Wait, hold up.
So either Rerir is hunting survivors of the Crimson Moon dynasty, or he's hunting gods.
The Crimson Moon dynasty came before the Eclipse dynasty, ruling during a time when a crimson moon was said to shine over Conria. This was likely the era that followed the fall of the 3 moons, when the crimson shadow of the iridescent moon sank into the abyssal sea. Our first record of this dynasty comes from a book called Parenheri, and when it was first discovered, it shocked the Genshin community, because inside was a revelation that changed everything we thought we knew about Conria.
Oh my god, isn't it crazy? That's the most we've seen of Conria. Still. This is the most we've ever seen of Conria. Like, even the most, like, I guess also the animated short as well with the shades. But other than that, I mean, you can't even count the 5.7 quest. Because that was literally just looking like freaking Natlan. That was just straight up Natlan, like, to make it look like, Conria, right? Well, it kind of just looked like Natlan anyway. But this is the most we've like ever seen besides from the animated short, right? Like this is like in-game footage.
The story was said to come from
that was in-game footage,
that
right?
changed everything we thought we knew about Conria. The story was said to come from an ancient Conrian legend passed down and rewritten by countless authors over the centuries. The only surviving copies are found in Fontaine, making its accuracy uncertain, but its value undeniable. According to Parenheri, a sage once advised the ruler of the Crimson Moon dynasty to create an institution that would care for descenders, alien children destined to transcend the gods. The ruler agreed, and soon the orphanage was filled with children from across Teyvat and potentially from different planets, including an outlander named Parenheri. In fact, this was the very book Fatui director Piero urged Arlecchino to read, a record meant to help her uncover the truth about who she really was. Arlecchino wields a power unlike
it's because she only... Was it like that she only really found out about it after Piero talked to her about it? I feel like I remember something about that, like her saying that. Like she was shocked too when she first heard about it from Piero, I think it was. I don't know. Or maybe it was just she just stumbled upon it. I don't
uncover
know.
the truth about who she really was. Arlecchino wields a power
What is she,
unlike
freaking
help her uncover the truth about who she really was. Arlecchino wields a power unlike anyone else in Teyvat, the Balmoon Bloodfire. This power was passed down to Arlecchino, a direct descendant of the Crimson Moon dynasty's royal bloodline. According to her, the Crimson Moon is nothing more than the shattered remains of the iridescent moon, fused with the abyss to prolong its lifespan.
Yeah.
That means the Balmoon Bloodfire she inherited is a fusion of the iridescent moon's former power and the corruption
And that's why her hands are black.
The abyss. This ancient power comes at a cost, because of course it does. The more it's used, the more it eats away
It is
at the
the abyss
heart.
after
If
all.
the corruption ever reaches it, the host loses everything, their will, their identity, and their soul. That's why Arlecchino wields it with such restraint, because she knows that one mistake could turn her into something completely unrecognizable.
Holy shit, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, true, she does. I mean, yeah, makes sense. Sorry, this freaking animation, bro. Holy shit.
You can say that the Balmoon Bloodfire makes her one of...
Wish it was released after the quest, or it was in the quest itself. I don't know. HSR does it. I don't know. Just release these animations in the quests. I mean, that would have been sick. That would have been so sick, having this animation in the quest as like a backstory of what happened. Oh my god.
You can say that the Balmoon Bloodfire makes her one of the most dangerous beings alive. Her flames
and now she's even more powerful. Yippee!
erase memories.
She's on her side, so it's all
Fire
good.
makes her one of the most dangerous beings alive. Her flames can erase memories. She can shape them into weapons, wings, and living constructs.
Yeah.
You can see just how
Crazy that that's her showing restraint, by the way.
how powerful she is from her boss fight. Records uncovered by the Netzitzenkreuz Ordo suggest that during the height of the Crimson Moon era, alchemy flourished and military power grew rapidly. But that prosperity would not last. Alchemy flourished and by the Netzitzenkreuz Ordo suggest that during the height of the Crimson Moon era, alchemy flourished and military power grew rapidly. But that prosperity would not last. The book ends with a haunting line. The crimson moon set and the dark sun descended into a yet darker dusk. Ooh. That moment marked the dynasty's fall and the rise of the Eclipse dynasty under King Irmin, the final ruler of Conria.
Man, I really like this video, man. I do. I really love how Bizdev explains it. I really do.
You could say there were plenty of reasons for King Irmin to fear the Crimson Moon dynasty. The most obvious is that the Crimson Moon dynasty came from a rival royal bloodline, one that could challenge or even overthrow Irmin's claim to power. Some members of that fallen dynasty still sought to reclaim their authority. Even distant relatives could have inherited the Balmoon Bloodfire. To Irmin, that alone might have been enough reason to strike first. But Nefer suggests
strike first before they strike. Well, I feel like that there's a saying for that, but I don't know what it is. I feel like I've heard a saying of that before, but it's like, yeah. It was like, give them one step, it was like take one step back, they take more steps. Something along those lines. Like, if you show I can't speak. You know what I mean? Like, if you give them an opening, they'll take it.
Darker. She claims the massacre of the Crimson to strike first. But Nefer suggests something darker. She claims the massacre of the Crimson Moon's ascendants was tied to the Vinster King's research, experiments that delved into forbidden knowledge and the abyss. According to Orlog, King Irmin repeatedly tried to force the Crimson Moon dynasty to hand over their secrets again and again. When they refused, he turned to violence. Maybe he killed them out of frustration, or for all the reasons he'd convince himself.
But I should have just gave it to them, bro. That's crazy now. But to be honest, that was probably out of safety for everyone, which is good, because if King Irmin got like hands on all that like secret shit, I think it could have ended really bad.
Or maybe those deaths were part of something far worse. Perhaps Irmin needed the mass slaughter to fuel his research, to unlock a hidden power that demanded sacrifice. Or maybe he needed to destroy a competing abyssal power before his own could succeed. Vedrfolnir tried to warn him. He told the king that his obsession would doom Conria, that the path he walked would end in ruin.
That did not go well.
Irmin had already lost reason. Fearing Vedrfolnir's wisdom as a visionary, he had his eyes gouged out, temporarily cutting off his ability to see the future. Irmin's pursuit of power didn't stop there. He would go on to use the Traveler's sibling as a vessel, a means to absorb limitless abyssal energy. And in doing so, he set the stage for the near annihilation of the world itself. Believe it or not, these Archon quests...
I always forget that's a thing that happens. Like, he was, using the main or Traveler's sibling for, a vessel. Yeah, that's crazy.
The annihilation of the world itself. Believe it or not, these Archon quests weren't actually the first time we heard about this story. And I mean, this is Genshin Impact we're talking about. It wouldn't be real Genshin lore unless something that shows up years later was first teased in some random obscure item. And in this case, it's the Xbox exclusive Wing Glider. The Wings of Fate's Course Intertwined. The lore of the Xbox exclusive glider.
That's crazy. An exclusive glider. That's kind of crazy.
Glider is told from Dainslov's perspective, and it might reveal the fate of King Irmin. The text uses the word regicide, which means the act of killing...
Thank God you explained the meaning of that.
The fate of King Irmin. The text uses the word regicide, which means the act of killing a king or the person who commits it. And because of that, we have good reason to believe that on the night Dainslov saved his brother, Vedrfolnir, he and the 5 sinners, all except Rarier maybe, carried out the assassination of King Irmin himself. After Irmin became indisposed, Antorphus Alberic stepped in to rule as regent. Alberic clan meaning...
Oh, Alberic? Kaya's last name is Alberic, right? Kaya Alberic? Right?
Kaya's family clan.
Oh, I gotta be honest, I didn't even read this last bit. I was so focused on this name, I didn't even read the fucking last line. Yeah, okay, because I was like talking about like, Alberic was like, wait, like during the during the Carry Bear quest, right? We're like, wait, Alberic? Question mark? Even the traveler was like, huh?
As Alberic stepped in to rule as regent. Alberic clan meaning Kaya's family clan. But that word, indisposed, leaves room for doubt. It could mean the assassination failed and Irmin was left gravely injured or unwell. Or also likely it was a cover story, a way to keep the people of Conria from realizing their king had been overthrown or killed from treason. King Irmin's name is interesting and honestly, kind of suspicious. According to Rarier, his full name is Irminsul. In Genshin, the Irminsul is the giant world tree database.
Is it called... Was it said Irminsul? I guess it is, yeah. I thought it was said a little bit differently, but still meaning the same thing.
Irminsul. In Genshin, the Irminsul is the giant world tree database that stores all the information and memories of Teyvat through the ley lines. It existed long before King Irmin ever came to power, so why would
he did make the tree, didn't he? Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, why does he have the same name?
In real-world Germanic mythology, Irminsul, Old Saxon for Great Pillar, refers to a sacred world tree or cosmic pillar that connects heaven and earth. It symbolized a bridge between realms, law, order, and a divine connection between humans.
Maybe that's what they saw King Irmin as, like a pillar to connect or maybe even overrule the heavens, and that's why. I don't know.
And the gods. Basically, it's considered the foundation of the world. That's what makes his name such a contradiction. Irminsul represents creation and order, but King Irmin became the complete opposite. He was supposed to uphold the world, but in his arrogance, he corrupted the very idea it stood for. He is literally the antithesis of what the Irminsul is supposed to be. He broke the laws of Teyvat by using forbidden knowledge from the abyss, potentially rejected the rule of Celestia, and even...
I'm sorry, whoever made this art fucking... so good, man.
By using
that is such a cool image. Oh my god, it's so cool.
Forbidden knowledge from the abyss, potentially rejected supposed to be. He broke the laws of Teyvat by using forbidden knowledge from the abyss, potentially rejected the rule of Celestia, and even carried out mass genocide against the Crimson Moon dynasty. His own actions helped spark the cataclysm itself. Yeah. It's poetic irony. The man who bore the name of the world's foundation became the man who tried to tear it apart. In Genshin's lore, Irminsul isn't just a tree. It's a living database, the memory of the world itself, constantly storing and rehashing information.
3 years ago, by the way?
If the Vinster King's name was...
Yeah, 3 years ago, by the way.
Constantly storing and rehashing information. So if the Vinster King's name was Irminsul, it could mean two things. Either he saw himself as the center of the world, the pillar that held everything together, or he chose that name to claim dominion over it, to become Irminsul. Ugh, the arrogation of mankind! He probably called himself Irminsul not because he was actually divine or anything, but because he wanted to be. His experiments with abyssal energy and his use of the Traveler's sibling as a vessel might point to one of his goals.
That crystal is Venophrynia, right? Pretty sure, right?
Energy and his use of the Traveler's sibling as a vessel might point to one of his goals, to rebuild the world tree in his own image. To correct what he saw
to have full control over the world, or his own world.
Order. Again, the irony is brutal. The damage he caused has echoed across Teyvat for over 500 years. He was also known as the Vinster King. The word Vinster comes from Middle German and literally means darkness. So calling Irmin the Vinster King could mean several things. It describes him as a king of darkness, which makes sense considering he turned to the abyss. It could also connect to the Eclipse dynasty itself. The word eclipse suggests
the abyss.
It could also connect to the Eclipse dynasty itself. The word eclipse suggests darkness covering light, and in the Chinese version of the game, the dynasty's name more accurately translates to the Black Sun dynasty, a solar eclipse where the moon blots out the sun. But Irmin wasn't always...
Don't keep staring at it, you go blind!
Like this. He started as a where the moon blots out the sun. But Irmin wasn't always like this. He started as a rational and capable ruler who genuinely wanted to strengthen Conria. He was originally sane of mind. Over time, though, exposure to the Abyss and the will of the Abyss changed him. His ideas became extreme and twisted, likely because he was exposed to forbidden knowledge, information that doesn't belong to Tevat. This kind of knowledge can't be understood or accepted by the world. It changes and corrupts anything it touches, whether it's a person or an object. According to Greater Lord Druketavata, forbidden knowledge comes from the deepest part of the Abyss, and anyone who tries to use it or is close to it ends up suffering from ill effects. King Irmin wasn't the only one responsible for the cataclysm, but his actions played a major role in setting it all in motion. The 5 sinners also played their part, which brings us back to Rerir. Rerir was, at first glance, an ordinary man, a loyal subject who served as an executioner under a quote-unquote evil king. I'm not trying to justify his actions. This is a fictional story, and Rerir is a villain, one of my favorite villains in all of Genshin, in fact. I just want to understand his character, and I think there are a few reasons why someone like Rerir...
Yeah, like, understanding why he does it doesn't make you go, oh yes, I agree with everything he does, right? Like, you could understand someone's POV. You could understand probably why he had to kill people was to protect himself from getting either thrown out, killed by King Irma and stuff like that. It doesn't make it right.
Could end up in that position. For one, there might have been propaganda. King Irmin and his followers could have spread the idea that the Crimson Moon dynasty was dangerous, that its descendants were enemies of the state, plotting to overthrow the king. To the public, anyone against the Crimson Moon dynasty might have seemed like a patriot, someone protecting his country from a rival bloodline. So to Rerir, those executions were quote-unquote justice, the elimination of threats to the kingdom. It's possible that Conria's people were slowly indoctrinated, taught to hate and fear the Crimson Moon dynasty. But I'd like to think the operation Rerir took part in was highly secret. Most people probably had no idea it was even happening. Rerir tells himself that if his friends knew what he was doing, they'd understand. To them, he's just an intelligence officer, someone doing classified work for the good of the nation. Even Dainsleif compares his role to Nefer's, calling it a kind of information gathering, but no amount of justification could hide what he was becoming. The more people Rerir killed, the harder it became to lie to himself. His victims kept getting younger and more innocent. What began as the execution of supposed traitors slowly turned into the slaughter of civilians.
Yeah, his youngest victim was like 6, right? But yeah, it all turned 180 degrees when he saw Thalindus.
And eventually children. His youngest victim, heartbreakingly, was only 6 years old. Nefer notes that during this
Bro would have even understood what the fuck was going on, bro.
time, as Rerir filed the reports of the people he'd killed, the gloomier he looked. With each report, we see a man slipping further away from reason and eventually crushed under the weight of what he'd done. The real shock comes when the woman he loves, the one he dreamed of marrying, ends up on his list of targets.
It's like, shit. It makes sense that was like the point, right? Everyone always does things if it like goes against something, if it like involves like something bad happening to someone you love. Right. But for Luda 2.
Genshin pulls strongly from this myth, then Thalindus might even turn out to be Rerir's lost lover.
Oh, okay.
Genshin pulls strongly from this myth, then Thalindus might even turn out to be Rerir's lost lover.
Thalindus was part of the Crimson Moon dynasty. Her lineage is distant, and she lacked their signature mark, the cross-shaped eye that Arlecchino and Orlog share. Yet that small difference was enough to hide her from suspicion. When Rerir discovered that his next target was Thalindus, something inside him finally broke. Being ordered to kill Thalindus forced him to see how twisted his world had become. His love for her mattered more than anything in his life, and that's part of what makes him so tragic. He could see the horrors, but only once it affected his own life.
Yeah. I mean, that is quite human though. Like, people only see the bad more when it involves them being hurt or affected by it, or someone they love being hurt or affected by it, right?
Listen,
many people don't actually care about other people.
Either. She hid her heritage from him, hoping he could still be saved. She believed there was good left in him, even as he carried out the slaughter of her people. Their love became a desperate illusion. Two people clinging to each other, or rather, lies about each other, while their kingdom collapsed around them. Rayrir eventually spared Freyther, another Crimson Moon descendant, when he realized just how far King Irmin had fallen. But by then, redemption was too late. The executions, the lies, and the guilt had already changed him. Before everything fell apart, Thelindis was a researcher stationed at the Moon Marrow Lab under the Universitas Magistrorum. Her work focused on the remains of the Crimson Moon, studying how its marrow could serve as a new source of energy for Conria. But her research never really went anywhere. When King Irmin shifted the kingdom's priorities toward his abyssal experimentations, the Universitas's funding and staff were redirected. Thelindis was left alone, the only one still studying the Crimson Moon's marrow.
Bro, if they actually got that power source, they would have been like one of the most advanced civilizations into that by like 4 billion years, bro. Holy shit, the amount of energy you would have gotten from that. From a moon? Holy shit, man. King Urban really fucked up.
That isolation, however, led her to a shocking discovery. She found that moon marrow could open a gateway to another world. It wasn't a clean, stable gateway, but a dangerous rift made of both lunar and abyssal energy. Still, it was proof that with the Crimson Moon's power, you could reach a world beyond Teyvat itself.
I guess that's probably why Raril and Thelindis were both shredded, right? Well, do we know Thelindis died going through it? We know Raril died going through it. Do we know if Thelindis did or not? I don't think. I don't know. We're guessing she did. But it probably makes sense of why they were shredded was because it was a mix of both lunar and abyss energy, making it unstable. Well, the reason why Marie wasn't shredded the time we threw him in Luna 2, we threw him through it, was because it was just pure moon, pure lunar energy, right? I'm guessing anyway.
As Irmin slipped deeper into madness...
That means if we're going off, like, from watching Ashikai's video, that the third Descender was shredded because he went through a moon gate. That means that moon gate would have used abyssal power as well.
In order power, you could reach a world beyond Teyvat itself.
I don't know.
As Irmin slipped deeper into madness and ordered the purge of every Crimson Moon descendant, Thelindis began to fear for her life. She blamed his insanity on a mysterious outsider, clearly referring to the Traveler's sibling, and blamed his insanity on a mysterious
Oh, because he found... I guess that makes sense because Lamine or... I have to... Ether as my main, like... as my traveler, right? Because the traveler, he finally found someone who was able to absorb and hold the abyss. So then he went full in onto that. But if Lamine never showed up, he wouldn't have ever gone. He probably would have never gone full into it, right?
Outsider, clearly referring to the Traveler's sibling, and wondered if removing that being could restore balance to the world. Before the cataclysm, she entrusted Freyther, another descendant, with a fragment of the Crimson Moon, telling her to keep it safe so their bloodline would never die out. It is believed that the piece of the Crimson Moon was passed down from Freyther to her descendants.
Oh, I forgot. In Ashikai's video, I was like, why did a kid have it? But I thought it was the kid giving it to her. I forgot. No, it was her giving it to the kid, yeah. I knew that. And then obviously she kept one for herself, I'm guessing, right?
It is believed that the piece of the Crimson Moon was passed down from Freyther to her descendants until it finally reached Arlecchino. When Dainsleif led his assault on the palace to rescue Vedrfolnir, Thelindis was trapped inside the Universitas. The release of abyssal energy turned descendants until it finally reached Arlecchino. When Dainsleif led his assault on the palace to rescue Vedrfolnir, Thelindis was trapped inside the Universitas. The release of abyssal energy turned the lab into chaos. With monsters flooding the halls, she barricaded herself in a room and waited for the end until Rayrir found her. Vedrfolnir had secretly warned him that Thelindis was in danger, and Rayrir arrived just in time. But when he entered, he found her standing before a glowing rift. Arrived just in time. But when he entered, he found her standing before a glowing rift. Arrived just in time. But when he entered, he found her standing before a glowing rift. A moon gate. She admitted she knew who he truly was and what he had done, but she didn't hate him. Instead, she said she had found a way to give him a normal life. Then she said, our wedding day will have to wait. Before Rayrir could stop her, she went into the portal and disappeared. The truth of where Thelindis went...
So I was just thinking also, so this is like a completely, I mean not completely off topic, because it's still about Rayrir. But it was like, I'm pretty sure it was during, I forgot which cutscene it was. I might have been the first one in Act 3, but Rhaenyra was like, when is the thing going to happen that you foretold Vedofrenia? Like, I think it was something along those lines, right? Like, he was waiting for the thing that Vedofrenia told him about to happen. We don't know what that is, but something he wants, and Vedofrenia foretold something was going to happen, and Maria was waiting for that to happen, but I don't think it did.
Still one of her could stop her, she went into the portal and disappeared. The truth of where Thelindis went is still one of Genshin's biggest mysteries. The simplest theory is that she crossed into the Crimson Moon's realm, a space between Teyvat and the Abyss. That would explain why we later see echoes of her memories inside the Crimson Moon domain. If this is true, she might have merged with the abyssal consciousness that governs the world. But there's another possibility that involves time. Rhaenyra's lore states that his body was torn apart and thrown into the swirling chaos of time.
But when I heard that for the first time, I was like, oh, was Istaroth involved with this? But I don't think so at all.
That wording suggests something more than just teleporting.
Okay, maybe. I thought it was just because the moon gate, like the power of the moon gate could do that. Because I was thinking, as soon as that was said, like he said that in Luna 1, I was like, ooh, I think I've said it. I was like, ooh, that has to do with something with Istaroth, right? Like his fragments chucked into different points in time and stuff. I was like, ooh, that might involve Istaroth, but I kind of went away from that. But
into the swirling chaos of time. That wording suggests something more than just teleporting or something with space. It could imply that the Moongate could have been a time portal. If that's true, Thelindis might have traveled to another point in history, maybe to prevent the cataclysm or to stop King Irmin from using the Traveler's sibling as a vessel. Her last words to Rhaenyra, "Our wedding day will have to wait," sound more like a promise than a goodbye. She might have believed she was coming back. But personally, I don't think that's how time travel works in Genshin. I think it's closer to what we saw in the Space and Time for You Archon quest. More like time bending, rather than someone jumping through a time portal. For Thelindis to pull off something like this, the god of time Istaroth would almost certainly have
Sorry, time shit really just... I don't even want to think about it, because I just cannot really understand it.
For Thelindis to pull off something like this, the god of time Istaroth would almost certainly have to be involved. Then there's what I like to call the two worlds theory. This idea proposes that Teyvat isn't a single planet, but rather two worlds forcibly merged together.
Ooh.
The world of Teyvat and the world of the Abyss. They exist side by side, sharing the same
There is
space.
heavily inspired by the relic in HSR. There is the Izumo Gensai and Takama Divine Realm Relic. Oh, is that supposed to be okay, it looks like a samurai. I was gonna say it's rapper, but I don't know.
The world of Teyvat and the world of the Abyss.
Yeah, I don't know.
They exist side by side, sharing the same space, but they aren't meant to.
That explains probably how the forbidden knowledge got there, right?
Again.
Probably explains why the forbidden knowledge is there and how it's kind of underneath. I was gonna say underneath, yeah.
They're fundamentally incompatible, like two halves of a body sewn together. This theory might temporarily explain a lot of Genshin's deeper mysteries while we don't have the real
Also, why it's underneath to that.
answers. Why does forbidden knowledge corrupt everything it touches? Why are we constantly fighting the Abyss? Why does
I guess that means the Abyss world is stronger, right?
Why does forbidden knowledge corrupt everything it touches? Why are we constantly fighting the Abyss? Why does Teyvat seem to reject certain things that don't belong to this world? It's because these two worlds, Teyvat and the Abyss, are constantly in conflict, each one trying to overwrite or reject the other's existence.
Yeah, it's I guess a good analogy is two plus sides of a magnet trying to force them together. Just won't, they won't be together.
In this theory, the
They aren't
celestial
compatible.
nails serve as literal nails, keeping the two halves of the world stable and prevent them from fully tearing apart. The nails suppress forbidden knowledge because that knowledge belongs to the other world. The moon marrow Thelindis studied was created from the
So I'm
shattered...
curious how much trouble the Abyss is having with the Teyvat's knowledge and stuff going into their world. I wonder if they're having a lot of trouble or not, I'm actually curious.
remains of the iridescent moon, fused with abyssal energy. The marrow Thalindus studied was created from the shattered remains of the iridescent moon, fused with abyssal energy. In other words, the moon gate she opened is a literal bridge between these two incompatible worlds. If that's true, Thalindus is probably somewhere in the abyss. Either way, her disappearance guaranteed two things: her survival and Rarer's unfortunate descent into madness. By stepping through that gate, she not only saved herself, she prevented Rarer from having to kill her, potentially ending her bloodline. It was her final act of love and the unfortunate start of Rarer's fall. Rarer was never the same after that day. He became one of the 5 sinners, Conrians who consumed abyssal power in search of something greater. In his case, that something Conrians who consumed abyssal power in search of something greater. In his case, that something was Thalindus. He hoped that if he embraced the abyss, he could follow her through that moon gate and bring her back. Even Dainsleif was stunned by his betrayal. Rarer wasn't a man of ambition. He was simply someone who wanted to live and love. Yet when the moment came, he chose the abyss over his nation. He opened a portal and stepped inside, abandoning Conria to its fate. The portal tore his body apart, scattering his fragments across Nod-Krai. The reason Rarer was torn apart by the chaos of time when he crossed the moon gate while Thalindus passed through safely likely comes down to 2 possibilities. Thalindus was a descendant of the Crimson Moon dynasty, and the portal itself was powered by the energy of the Crimson Moon. That connection probably allowed her to harmonize with its energy and survive the passage. Rarer, on the other hand, came from the Eclipse dynasty, and he may have been fundamentally incompatible with...
But if that would be the case, wouldn't he have been shredded when he went through the Frost Moon Gate? When Columbina threw him through? In Luna 4? I mean, in Act 4? Because he would have been incompatible with that. I feel like it had just had something to do with the portal. I had to say portal having the abyss, but then Thalindus would have been shredded. I don't know.
The gate's lunar energy. It's also possible that the gate he opened later wasn't stable. Without Thalindus' research or the proper conditions...
Yeah, it's like it wasn't stable, so it was like going to multiple places, like... Like the pool, yeah. And then it was like, when he went through, it was like... You know what I mean? It was like a portal to like 50 different places at the same time. And when he went through, it was like...
His attempt might have ripped open an incomplete or distorted
instantly.
rift, one that couldn't sustain him, tearing his body apart as he crossed. But he survived. Without Thalindus' research or the proper conditions, his attempt might have ripped open an incomplete or distorted research. It's also possible that the gate he opened later wasn't stable. Without Thalindus' research or the proper conditions, his attempt might have ripped open an incomplete or distorted rift, one that couldn't sustain him, tearing his body apart as he crossed. But he survived. The abyssal power he absorbed kept his consciousness alive, binding it to the world in the form of the Wild Hunt. Each monster that roamed Nod-Krai were fragments of him. Over the centuries, Rarer obsessed over the 3 moons. He ordered the Wild Hunt to collect the fragments of his body and consume Kuvaki to rebuild himself.
That's kinda cool, I'm not gonna lie. Slowly but surely.
All of it for one purpose: to find Thalindus again. There's a haunting moment in the lore where Rarer hears a voice in his mind. A voice he believes belongs to Vedrfolnir.
Yeah.
When they finally meet, Vedrfolnir laughs and says,
"So, you hear it too? The voice that steals your mind, gains your trust, and drives you crazy."
There are 2 ways to read this.
Minzliff, you need to fix...
Drives you crazy.
You're mad.
There are
crazy.
2 ways to read this. The first is that the Abyss was imitating Vedrfolnir's voice. We know the Abyss can mimic both living beings and voices. It's done so before, notably in the Natlan Archon quest, where it imitated the voices of previous Pyro Archons. Rarer trusted Vedrfolnir deeply, so if the Abyss wanted to manipulate Pyro Archons, him, that voice would be the perfect tool.
Yeah.
The second theory is even more chilling: that it was really Vedrfolnir.
Oh.
After the Cataclysm, Vedrfolnir took on the form of a suspended purple crystal, able to influence the minds of others. Vedrfolnir took on the form of a suspended purple crystal.
And he can speak into people's heads like that. Oh, true. And he can speak into people's heads like that. But I wonder if he might, if she's going with that, like, because he can speak like into people's heads here, maybe that was Vedrfolnir, but I feel like he could only speak into people's heads here because he has the power of the Abyss. Well, before, he didn't. Like, when it was happening, he didn't have the power of the Abyss at that time.
able to influence the minds of others. Dainsliff later implied that Vedderfalnir's consciousness could exist across time itself, past, present, and future.
Oh, so that's...
That Vedderfalnir's consciousness could exist.
Oh, so you're saying he could be bringing his consciousness to the past to speak to Revere in his mind to convince him to join? Oh, Jesus Christ. He brings his consciousness back in time to speak to Revere in his mind to convince him to join the Abyss. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Time itself. Past, present, and future all at once. According to the weapon lore from Stygian Onslaught, each of the 5 sinners mirrors one of the 4 shades and the heavenly principles. Their powers are twisted reflections of their divine concepts. Life for Rhindaughter and Nibirius, death for Rayrir and Renova, their divine concepts.
Oh yeah, I figured, I was like, okay, you got 2 here, where's the 2? I was like, oh wait, Rhindaughter is a fucking sinner.
Rhindaughter and Nibirius, death for Rayrir and Renova, time for Vedderfalnir and Istaroth, space for Sertologi and Asmodee, and reason for Roptatyr and the heavenly principles themselves. If Rayrir represents Asmodee and reason for Roptatyr and the
that's the last one. Heroptatyr. I am never remembering that one. Heroptatyr. I can't remembering that name. Oh shit, that is a weird name to pronounce.
Themselves. If Rayrir represents the blasphemy of death, then Vedderfalnir is almost certainly the blasphemy of time. His powers seem to imitate Istaroth, the god of time. But unlike Istaroth, whose voice could travel through time to guide and protect, Vedderfalnir's version of that power is warped. This means the voices that Rayrir and Vedderfalnir heard could have been Vedderfalnir's future self.
That'd be so cool if that's 100% true. If that is like 100% confirmed in the future, oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Voices that Rayrir and Vedderfalnir heard could have been Vedderfalnir's future self. It would explain why he smiled creepily when Rayrir mentioned the voice. He figured it out. When Rayrir was banished from Teyvat, we're told he was cast outside the world through a moon gate. We don't know where that is. Maybe the Crimson Moon realm, maybe somewhere in the voice. He figured it out. It would explain why he smiled. Vedderfalnir heard could have been Vedderfalnir's future self. It would explain why he smiled creepily when Rayrir mentioned the voice. He figured it out.
But why would there be a voice speaking to him? I mean, he could have just been lying, I guess. He could have just been lying with a voice being said to him.
When Rayrir was banished from Teyvat, we're told he was cast outside the world through a moon gate. We don't know where that is. Maybe the Crimson Moon realm, maybe somewhere in the abyss, or maybe even outer space.
What if you could control where Moongate goes? Can you? I don't know if you can. I don't remember if it was said or not.
One thing is certain, he likely hasn't found the Lindis yet. Vedderfalnir told him, whatever trials you may face, be steadfast in your path. For as long as you live, your story with the Lindis shall not come to an end. His story isn't finished yet, and Hoyoverse seems to agree. The next chapter might connect some of the loose ends of his story or put it on hold momentarily. So what's next for Rayrir and the Lindis? We know their story isn't...
Bro, if Revere comes back, like, into the story, which, I mean, it would just make sense because he's not dead. It would be so cool if we get a backstory of what happened after he got thrown through that gate and what he did. Oh my god, actually seeing that. Not, like, written, not in, like, friggin' black and white text. Bro, but actually seeing what happened after. Oh my god, that's what I expect will happen in Luna 3 with Doran, is that we got to see like a backstory of what happened after he was like made.
Over.
Yeah, but see that with Rhea, see outside the like a proper like more outside of like to that. Oh my god.
Maybe the key to understanding how it continues lies within Durin. Durin's story mirrors theirs in more ways than one. Created by Rhindaughter through Chemia, Durin was a powerful alchemical being. During the Cataclysm, he attacked Mondstadt, but it wasn't because he was evil. In truth, he never asked to be a monster.
Hey LEGO fans, big news. The Light My Bricks Black Friday sale is just around the corner. And guess...
No one cares. Anyway.
In the end, Dvalin was forced to kill him and Durin's body fell onto Dragonspine where it still rests. But that wasn't the end of his story. In Simulanka, a fairy tale world created by 3 members of the Hexen Circle, Alice, Barbeloth, and Anders' daughter, Durin reappears reborn as a storybook version of the original creation. The people there saw him as a terrifying
But
dragon.
I was gonna say, yeah, but he just, wants to make
But in
friends.
reality, he just wanted friends. Simulanka is a place where old stories can be rewritten and characters can have happier endings. That was Anders' daughter's hope for our Durin, for him to escape the fate tied to his name. So, theoretically, if Durin could exist again in a recreated world, what's stopping the same thing from happening to Rarer and Thelindis? Another version of Rarer and Thelindis could exist where life is kinder to them. It kind of reminds me of Shaoran and Sakura from Tsubasa Chronicles, where their clones were reborn and given another chance at a better life. And just to be clear, I'm not saying Rarer has to be redeemed, but I'm also not saying he doesn't deserve it either. His story could go either way, and that's what makes it interesting.
I mean, redeeming him to make him a good guy, I don't know. I feel like that would just take away from his character so much. Oh, I feel like it just would. Like, he's like pure evil, like killing people and shit. Even if he had his reasons. Even if you can understand it, he was pure evil. Oh, it'd be so bad if they did like a Wanderer and made him like a goody two shoes. Oh, that'd be so bad. He goes, "Hi everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're having a good day, traveler." I'm like, oh fuck's sake. That would just, I don't know, I would hate that.
There might be another reason why Durin could be the focus of the next Archon quest, and it might have something to do with Columbina. Why Durin could be the focus of the next Archon quest, and it might have something to do with Columbina. Columbina says she feels the world is rejecting her. Because the Frost Moon is sealed beyond the false sky, she doesn't have full access to her power as its successor. Her source of power lies outside Tevat's boundaries, which means her very existence is treated as something foreign, like data that doesn't belong in the system. In other words,
Kind of like the Abyss in a way, but kind of different, but kind of the same.
Tevat itself rejects her. In a way, that situation is actually quite similar to what happened with Durin, the original one created by Rhindaughter. Durin was crafted from abyssal energy. Just as forbidden knowledge from the abyss is actively being rejected by Tevat, he also was something this world couldn't fully accept. His simple wish to see the world ended in tragedy because Tevat's natural laws rejected what he was. It's also worth noting that the original Durin that attacked Mondstadt believed he was peaceful, that he was trying to make friends, but his very existence brought harm wherever he went. The same thing happened to Elenas and Fontaine, another one of Rhindaughter's abyssal creations. Both of them seem to exist on a plane of reality.
I should go be honest, I didn't know that was one of Rhindaughter's creations.
Abyssal creations. Both of them seem to exist on a plane of reality that doesn't quite belong to Tevat. But now, our Durin changes everything. Unlike Rhindaughter's creation, Anders' daughter used a fairy tale instead of abyssal alchemy to rewrite Durin's fate, to give him a better life. Through that process and Albedo's alchemy, Mini Durin crossed over into Tevat and merged with what remained of the original Durin. The result is remarkable, a being that should have been rejected by the world, but no longer is. Durin and Columbina are, in some ways, parallels. Both have origins outside Tevat, Durin from the Abyss and Columbina from the Frost Moon. Both were rejected by the world, but while Columbina is still recovering and still being rejected, Durin has already been reborn and reintegrated into Tevat.
So how is this gonna go to like Columbina not be rejected? We got like bring the Frost Moon. We just bring the Frost Moon.
Durin's new existence might hold the answer to Columbina's condition, proof that something once rejected by the world can still be accepted again. Although he was written through human compassion and imagination, that doesn't mean something similar can't happen to Columbina. After all, Dainsleif says we humans have our humanity, and I feel like that line means way more than the story's letting on. Maybe the key to Columbina's true origins isn't just found in Durin, but in someone else who's been working behind the scenes.
Nicole?
The quest literally there ended off with...
Oh yeah, I watched this. I did the quest, I watched Brad do the whole entire quest, and then I watched this. And yeah, the vase breaking, symboling Nicole is like... I only understood that when I watched Brand's reaction to the quest, when he said it. And yeah, that is crazy. Shout out to Brand, by the way. Where's the, from Brand? Where's Brand? Yeah, that was crazy.
The sound of a vase or something. The quest literally there ended off with the sound of a vase or something, like a pot
Breaking.
smashing in another room.
Yeah.
Did you pick...
That was random as fuck. That's that. I mean, like in terms of like like the scene it did not fit that scene. It felt like that did not even fit the scene. It felt like it. But it makes sense if you think of it as Nicole, and obviously it makes sense if it is Nicole because obviously the light that was protecting Hisi Island and I forgot the name of the friggin' oh my god, the main place. That's great. I think it starts with N. But yeah, was like a goldish color, which is like Nicole.
Up on what that was. Do you remember the final act of Sumeru where we first heard Nicole and what that was on Wanderer's Quest, I think it was?
Wait, there was something that broke in that scene, right?
A vase. Yeah. It was Paimon who broke it, by the way. Clumsy Paimon.
You sound lost and confused.
I wonder if she still has the same VA, by the way. I don't know. Curious.
The whole introduction to Nicole was the V's smashing on the ground and her saying, only trust what you see or something. Or don't trust everything you see.
That's
something like that.
Good catch.
Nicole Rain is a member of the Hexenzirkel, a prophetess who studies Teyvat's order and direction. Other witches call her the guide who never gets lost, and she has this eerie habit of speaking directly into your mind without warning. Some say she's physically mute, that she's suffocated by her inability to speak. Skirk adds that Nicole once watched the extinction of her own species before becoming human. All of this should tell us she's not like anyone of her own species, inability for becoming human. Skirk adds that Nicole once watched the extinction of her own species before becoming human. All of this should tell us she's not like anyone else in Teyvat. We've speculated before that Nicole's species might have been the Seelies, the fallen angels of Teyvat. Back when the heavenly principles ruled without question, angels guided humanity under Celestia's command. But when one of them, Koitar, the first and fairest daughter of heaven, fell in love with an outlander named Suturvoinen, the order shattered. Her crown broke, she felt love, freedom, and most importantly, rebellion for the first daughter of heaven, fell in love with. But when one of them, Koitar, the first and fairest daughter of humanity under Celestia's command. But when one of them, Koitar, the first and fairest daughter of heaven, fell in love with an outlander named Suturvoinen, the order shattered. Her crown
so she was
broke,
like one of the highest, I guess, in terms of like power,
she felt
right?
love, freedom, and most importantly, rebellion for the first time ever. Together, she and her lover defied the gods. For that sin, a celestial nail was sent on Hyperborea, killing the face spirits and cursing every angel who would ever love again. Koitar and Suturvoinen would be separated for all eternity, and their memories completely wiped. If the angels were really Nicole's species, then her story matches the Seelie curse pretty well. Whether Nicole stayed as a drifting consciousness, only speaking through inanimate objects for centuries, or only recently gained a body isn't confirmed yet. But if she truly came from Hyperborea, it explains everything. Her instinct to protect Nod-Krai, her interference at Hisi Island, even her golden wings and halo in the Song of the Welcome Moon teaser. Nicole might really be an angel or a Seelie who somehow regained a physical form. Her powers of prophecy, telepathy, and guidance all echo the gifts of the ancient angels Nabu Malikata, Sibula, and Yohua. And guidance all echo the gifts of the ancient angels Nabu Malikata, Sibula, and Yohua Tekutin. Her imagery fits too. She's literally a Nabu Malikata, Sibula, and Yohua Tekutin. Her imagery fits too. She's literally a
I'm sorry. That sounds like something like a name that'll be in Stira Brain Rod.
Yohua Tekutin. Her imagery.
Sorry if that offended like anyone, like if that like any like person's religion or something. I'm sorry.
Fits too. She's literally a guide who never gets lost. But if she isn't an angel, maybe she's something made by them, a fey creation from Koitar and Suturvoinen's forbidden art. They once dreamed of forming beings that could merge with the world. Maybe Nicole is forbidden art. They once dreamed of forming beings that could merge with the world. Maybe Nicole is one of their ancient creations. But perhaps there's another layer to it. I noticed an interesting pattern. Columbina can't see, but she perceives the true moon beyond the false sky. Nicole can't speak, but she communicates telepathically. They have heightened versions of the senses they seem to be missing. But all of this feels like a callback to an old proverb. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. The phrase itself comes from ancient Buddhist teachings that were later adopted into Japanese culture. It represents moral discipline. To avoid evil in what you see, what you hear, and what you say. 3 wise monkeys embody each virtue. Mizaru, who covers his eyes, teaches us to see no evil, to look beyond corruption or illusion. Kikazaru, who covers his ears, teaches us to hear no evil, to resist lies and temptation. Now imagine if those virtues were represented in the 3 moon goddesses of Genshin.
Oh.
You know
Are you saying Nicole's a moon
ones always fire up.
gotta go.
They can handle the heat, take the spotlight. They just seem to own it. And the great ones do their thing on the Matador Ignite. Matador, the sign of a great barbecue.
With Henry, Katie gets a full accounting service. A team of sole trader tax experts lodge her returns, manage her expenses, and she can contact them whenever she has a question.
So I think I'm missing a screw.
Tax question.
Ah.
Should have clarified.
Each moon could symbolize...
Yeah, so we got like, that would be, Nicole, Columbina, and then the other one.
Those virtues were
I
represented...
had heard this before. That might have been in Minslif and Brand's talk, to be honest.
In the 3 moon goddesses of Genshin. Each moon could symbolize one of these moral principles, and their downfall could represent what happens when those virtues are broken. The frost moon could embody see no evil, not corrupted by what is seen, preserving clarity and detachment.
Is that why it's the brightest? As well, maybe? That's why it's the brightest, allowing people to see only the light? I don't know.
The iridescent or crimson moon might represent hear no evil. Ironic, since the goddess of it listened to the call of the abyss. The act of hearing what shouldn't be heard might have caused her corruption into the crimson the abyss. The act of hearing...
I mean, that makes sense if not having that sense makes it so like your sense is like that sense is heightened in some sort of way. That could actually make sense.
What shouldn't be heard, since the goddess of it listened to the call of the abyss. The act of hearing what shouldn't be heard might have caused her corruption into the crimson moon. And the eternal moon or Archon shouldn't be heard might have caused her corruption into the crimson moon. And the eternal moon or Arya could symbolize speak no evil.
Technically heard that.
Moon. And the eternal moon or Arya could symbolize speak no evil. She represents restraint and truth, the idea that wisdom isn't in speaking constantly but in knowing when to stay silent. Nicole, the mute prophetess, mirrors this perfectly. She even had to learn how to speak less with Alice's guidance. If Columbina embodies sight beyond sight and Nicole embodies speech beyond speech, then it stands to reason that a third goddess could embody hearing beyond hearing, completing the trio. What's fascinating is that all 3 of these principles, vision, speech, and hearing, were present at the first sin of Goitar and Suturvoinen. The 3 moon sisters once saw the forbidden union of Goitar and Suturvoinen. They heard their plans to defy the heavenly principles, and they stayed silent, their inaction perhaps sealing their fate. The same 3 acts that once symbolized moral purity became their downfall. Araligino is one of the last heirs of the Crimson Moon dynasty and currently has the Crimson Moon's marrow. Columbina is seen as the successor of the Frost Moon, but there's still one missing figure. The successor of the Eternal Moon. I believe Nicole fits that position perfectly, especially if the Traveler can't hold onto Arya's moon marrow forever. It would make perfect sense for Nicole to inherit it. She literally speaks only when it matters, and only in the minds of those who need it, an embodiment of speak no evil which we assign to Arya, the goddess of the Eternal Moon. Columbina says that Luonatar had the blessing of a moon goddess, but not hers. If it wasn't Sonnet, identity still uncertain, it could have been Nicole, acting in Arya's stead. The Luonatar color palette matches Nicole's as well. But wait, there's something I want you to remember. Nicole's first line to us is believe your own eyes. Only that which you see is true. What is unseen is but an illusion. Isn't that something the Frost Moon would say? Why yes, that's the point. The moons aren't completely separate. Their virtues are interconnected. Nicole can share the Frost Moon's idea of see no evil while still representing speak no evil. So they don't avoid a virtue just because it belongs to another moon, but rather they use it to keep the lunar system steady. Here's a wild theory, and I can't stress this enough. Please take it with a grain of salt. In my own personal musings, Nicole being connected to the Eternal Moon makes the most sense. And I've been thinking about that for a while now. But
with everything you said, it definitely does.
Me out this one time.
Be cool.
I don't know why, but part of me still feels like Columbina being the Frost Moon or the reborn Frost Moon goddess might be a red herring. Something about it doesn't sit right. She keeps saying she's being rejected by the world, but what if that isn't because she's the Frost Moon, but because she's something else entirely. Rejected like the fourth moon in Nod-Krai's prophecy, the one that...
Oh, her being the fourth frost moon that was never that failed? Oh my god. Wait, she thinks she's the frost moon, but she's not. She's actually the failed moon? And that's why she was born, and that's why she was born into that? Because obviously that failed moon is into that. I mean, the failed moon is literally Nod-Krai. And maybe the Fatui or Dottore knows... No, I'm gonna say maybe... maybe the Dottore knows that. No, I'm gonna say Dottore knows that, and that's why he wants the marrow, but that's the frost moon marrow, so... Yeah, so maybe there's another marrow somewhere. Like, maybe the... Where would that marrow be? Oh, yeah, where would that marrow be? Because if she has the frost moon, but she's not actually the frost moon... Oh, hold up. You know when I keep talking about I really want to see what's in the moon fragment under the Fatui Base Bureau? Because there's like a latch on the moon. What if the failed moon marrow, the failed moon's marrow, is literally in the moon fragment under the Fatui base? Oh. And that's one where they're getting a lot of their power from. And two, maybe they need one more. Maybe Dottore wants one more to do something big. And that's why he wants... That's why I think he wants to get the frost moon, like, marrow, right? But yeah, and it's like in, like, the Fatui have it, like, in their hands. That would be really cool, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway,
failed to form.
I was thinking about that for too long.
Rejected like the fourth moon in Nod-Krai's prophecy, the one that failed to form. Nod-Krai itself.
Yeah, it was made by the sovereigns, right? Not the sovereigns, the pyro dragons. I forgot what you call them, but yeah. No, it was made by the No, it was made by the dragon sovereigns. Yeah, it was made by the dragon sovereigns. I was like, wait, it was an underbeing that made the frost moons, but no, Nibelung made the 3 moons. The dragon sovereigns tried to make that 4th moon that failed. Yeah.
Be the remnant of that failed moon, and that.
Because I know the pyro dragon also, the pyro sovereign also made different things. Yeah.
Form.
Anyway.
Nod-Krai, it's like the fourth moon in Nod-Krai's prophecy, the one that failed to form. Nod-Krai itself is said to be the remnant of that failed moon, and the prophecy foretells that one day...
That's why I think it's under... That's why I think that if there's a moon marrow, it's under the Fatui base. Because why is there a latch? I want to know what's in there. Anyway.
New moon will rise.
That's where I thought the frost moon marrow was at first. That's where I thought they put it. Like, kept it at first, but no, it was in Centurion's robot. What's the name of it? I forgot.
I think this new moon might not be the frost moon at all, but the Welkin moon, the projection of a moon we see in Tevat's false sky. This patch is called Song of the Welkin Moon, and Columbina is the centric character. In one of my earlier videos, I explained why I believe the Welkin moon and the frost moon are connected. The Welkin moon could be a reflection of the frost moon, almost like a snapshot. A photocopy of the frost moon, rather. That could explain why Columbina feels tied to the frost moon's power, but still says she doesn't have its moon marrow. And that's an important detail because moon marrow only exists after the death of a moon goddess, which means the true goddess of the frost moon might still be alive. Even Skirk says that the will of the frost moon is still alive, just dormant. The light of the true frost moon was shown to be gold, and is still the true goddess of the frost moon might still be alive.
Oh, so he's saying she doesn't have the frost moon marrow. She has the failed moon marrow in her. Oh, if that's true, then literally what I yapped for 5 minutes is just a waste of time. Oh yeah, that means if she has the failed moon marrow inside of her, that means the frost moon. That means there'd be no frost moon marrow, and that means bro. Oh my god, seeing that original frost moon goddess. Oh,
after the death of a moon goddess, which means the true goddess of the frost moon might still be alive. Even Skirk says that the will of the frost moon is still alive, just dormant. The light of the true frost moon was shown to be gold, which matches the golden glow of Nicole's powers. And then there's the Kuhenki, those strange moonlight beings that can turn into Luonotar after receiving the blessing of a moon goddess. But here's the twist. The Luonotar didn't receive Columbina's blessing. So whose blessing was it? What if it's the OG goddess of the frost moon? What if it was Nicole's? We even see Nicole having tea with a Kuhenki in the first Song of the Welcome Moon teasers. We even see Nicole have...
Oh my god, yeah, true. I always thought it was like, I didn't really think about this too much, but yeah. Oh my god, that is the teacup. Oh my god, true. Fuck.
Having tea with a Kuhenki in the first Song of the Welcome Moon teaser while she narrates over the trailer. Now take this with a huge grain of salt. I'm just being a little contrarian for the sake of theory crafting. But what if Columbina isn't the frost moon and Nicole is somehow connected instead? And it's possible that
because Columbine's the failed one.
that Nicole could even be a Kuhenki herself. Skirk mentioned that Nicole spends her time sculpting, and the Kuhenki are shown to be gifted of. Skirk mentioned that
they do paint. They painted like 3 times in a freaking quest.
Nicole spends her time
They made some. They painted twice, and then they did some rock painting by making pictures out of. I say painting, making pictures out of rocks.
Sculpting, and the Kuhenki are shown to be gifted artists. Maybe she's a Kuhenki who gained human form recently, but there's still
or maybe she could go back and forth. Or maybe she gained it recently and can go back and forth.
Another layer to this. What if Nicole isn't a Kuhenki at all, but someone much older, like Koitar, the first angel who fell in love with the Voyager and rebelled against the heavenly principles, which led to the downfall of the Seelie race? I'm not completely sure about this one either. The only reason I'm hesitant to fully believe my own research towards this theory is because of Koitar's curse. It states their cruel punishment was to be separated from each other for eternity and to have their memories wiped without a trace. The phrase "without a trace" makes it sound almost impossible for Koitar to ever regain her memories. So if Nicole really were Koitar, I doubt she'd remember Hyperborea or her past life at all. It's possible that only fragments of her memories returned, maybe everything except her love for Sutervoinen. But the thing is, Nicole clearly remembers the fall of her nation. That's strange because if she's Koitar, she shouldn't be able to remember that at all. If I had...
But I guess she is a Hetson Circle member. And the Hetson Circle are known to be like interested in Irmin's soul and can like enter Irmin's soul, right? So maybe some of her memories they couldn't. They will say they wipe it without a trace, but they couldn't actually do it because it was in Irmin's soul. But I guess the heavenly principles has full control. Would have control over Irmin's soul, right? But it could have been hidden in fairy tales, like what we see in Wanderer, where Nahida kept his memories as like a fairy tale, so it wasn't changed because fairy tales don't change. So maybe Nicole does remember stuff because a lot of her memories were like in like fairy tales and stuff, and then I don't know, freaking Hetson Circle things, and she got some of her memories back. I don't know. I'm just saying shit.
To rank them, it would go like this. Nicole as a shouldn't be able to remember that at all.
I don't know.
If I had to rank them, it would go like this. Nicole as a successor of the Eternal Moon is my top theory. Second, she could be the true successor of the Frost Moon. Third, she might be a Kuhenki or a Seelie who recently gained a human form. Fourth, she could be Koitar herself. Fifth, and a curveball, she could be the Welkin Moon. But I'm keeping the door open to all of these possibilities. There was a commenter who pointed out something I had decided to bookmark for later during my research, and honestly, I'm so glad they told me to look into it now. So thank you, Sonub8196, for bringing this up. In the Finnish national epic...
Oh, okay, I thought you were just going to read it, that's what I did. No. An interesting point to note, ensure I will leave the clues here, but the story bus has something to do with these... Lubitar equal air and creation. Kutar equals moonlight reflection. Heavy of sunlight and life. Koita equals dawn and awakening.
So thank you, Sonub.
And Lubitar equals air and creation.
8196 for bringing this up. In the Finnish national epic Kalevala, there's a story about Ilmatar, known as the Maiden of Air or Luonotar. She existed alone in a vast, endless sea of wind and emptiness. One day, she became pregnant by the wind and the waves, and for many years carried the hero Wainamoinen. During that time,
Hey,
existed alone
damn,
in a
that's
vast, endless sea
crazy,
of
bro.
wind and emptiness. One day, she became pregnant by the
That's
wind and the
crazy,
waves.
man. I don't want to go outside anymore.
And for many
I ain't
years,
going outside anymore.
carried the hero Wainamoinen.
Okay, go in
During
the
that
ocean,
became
you
pregnant by the
become
wind and the waves, and for many years.
I mean, is it the sea full of fish semen? Um. Anyway.
Carried the hero Wainamoinen. During that time, an eagle built in the waves, and for many years carried the hero Wainamoinen. During that time, an eagle built a nest on her knee and laid eggs that would eventually break and give birth to the world itself. The fragments of the eggs became the earth, sky, moon, sun, and stars. The white of the egg became the moon, and the yolk became the sun. Sound familiar? If you've read Before Sun and Moon, it should, because in Genshin, the heavenly principles are also said to have been born from an egg, using its eggshell to form the firmament, the barrier that separates Teyvat from outer space. The false sky is an eggshell. After Ilmatar shapes the world, she gives birth to Wainamoinen, a wise hero whose footsteps create rivers, lakes, and islands. Already the parallels between this myth and Genshin's cosmology are very apparent. In the same Finnish mythology, Kutar is the goddess of the moon. She's said to own the gold of the moon, spinning golden yarns and weaving clothes made of moonlight.
It's lights out savings with Domino's blackout deals. Get 2 large Valley pizzas, garlic bread.
In old songs, young maidens would even pray to her.
Do not like Domino's.
Anyway, weaving clothes made of moonlight.
It's not amazing.
In old songs, young maidens would even pray to her, weaving clothes made of moonlight. In old songs, young maidens would even pray to her, asking for pieces of her golden jewelry or the silken clothes she weaves. This detail immediately reminded me of Columbina's birth, where countless kuhenki wove the moonlight that bathed her into silken vestments fit for a goddess. The symbolism goes even deeper. Kutaru's golden weaving represents beauty, craft, and the flow of time. Her threads mirror the moon's cyclical phases. And since the frost moon's light in Genshin glows gold, that connection feels intentional. The frost moon may actually represent this golden moon from the Ilmatar myth. Now let's talk about Paivatar. Her name comes from Paiva, meaning day. She's often seen as the sun goddess. In the myths, Paivatar and Kutar work side by side, spinning silver and golden clothes, symbolizing the balance between sun and moon, and day and night. In some songs, their tears even give birth to a tree, which is fascinating because it echoes Genshin's Irminsul, the database of the entire world. We've long suspected on this channel that Irminsul might have lunar origins, and this myth supports that idea. That is, if Hoyoverse really decided to draw deep inspiration from this myth. Then there's Koitar, the goddess of the dawn. She's not as prominent in Finnish mythology, often only mentioned in passing, alongside Paivatar and Kutar. Together, they represent dawn, day, and night. Ilmatar is the creator of the world. Koitar ushers in the dawn. Paivatar brings the day, and Kutar governs the night.
Sense.
But there's a darker figure found in
that
Genshin's
definitely
lore.
Reading it before that, the comment didn't make sense to me at all. Now it does. Okay, yeah, now it does.
The Night Mother. In one of my favorite books, darker figure found in Genshin's lore. The Night Mother. In one of my favorite books, The Pale Princess and the Six Pygmies, she's described as ruling over the land of night, a world without light. She is the source of all sin, a being who watches without empathy, heart, or voice, punishing those who disobey her rule. The only thing she cannot bear is moonlight. That line changes everything, because what if the Night Mother isn't some distant evil goddess, but Koitar herself? Think about it. Koitar was once the Dawn Star, the brightest of angels, the first and fairest daughter of the heavenly principles. But when she fell in love with Suter Voinen and rebelled against her creator, everything changed. For that act, she and her entire race were cursed. She may have committed what we could call the first sin, and in The Pale Princess and the Six Pygmies, the Night Mother is described as the source of all sin. So what if the Night Mother is her, a fallen angel who can no longer stand the light she was once made of? She is said to have no heart and no mouth, a punishment for loving too deeply. She is said to have no heart and no mouth, a punishment for loving too deeply, for speaking forbidden truths. This recontextualizes the Night Mother's entire story. The fall of the angels and the land of night may all trace back to Koitar's punishment, a transformation so complete that her entire being was lost. But while Nicole might be guiding events from the shadows, there's someone else.
Hey, yo, you can't just. Hey, I'm just saying. Nicole hasn't identified what she wants to be yet. You can't just. Nah, that's just rude.
Nicole might be guiding events from the shadows. There's someone else lurking there too. Someone whose motives are far darker. Who is the other person helping Rerir? There are really only two possibilities. Either we're about to meet another sinner, or it's Fatui Harbinger Ilgatore. Early in Act 3, Varka mentioned that he'd tried to track Rerir, but was deliberately led astray.
And from everything you told me, it sounds like his scheming began well before his return. So maybe luring me away was all a part of his plan. But is it even possible that he orchestrated all of this by himself?
This tells us someone else was involved. Someone who helped Rerir become whole again to use him as a pawn. Each of the 5 sinners represent a distortion of one of Tevat's laws.
Yeah, and I feel like none of the sinners would like use. I don't know. Would the sinners use each other as pawns? I don't know. I feel like Dottore. I feel like it would be a very Dottore thing to do, to get a sinner and use him as a pawn and have control of it. I don't know. It seems like a very Dottore thing to do. Have control over one of the most powerful beings. I don't know.
Life, death, time, space, and reason. Rerir embodies death as the blasphemy of death. So who would complement death? Someone tied to life or time. That points to Rheindotter or Vedrfolnir. Just as a quick side note, both Rerir and Vedrfolnir seem to have turned into crystals after the cataclysm. Rerir's fragments become crystals shattered across Nod-Krai, forming the Wild Hunt, while Vedrfolnir himself transformed into a giant purple crystal. What's even more interesting is that during Act 2, Rerir shouts Rheindotter's name, which makes me wonder if she suffered a similar fate, and was the reason why she needed to merge with a weakened Nibirius to survive. But the most grounded possibility is Ildatore. He's obsessed with Conria, cloning, artificial immortality, and godhood. Rerir would be the perfect test subject.
Fucking hell, this is so
cloning,
cool.
artificial immortality.
I'm just really excited for Dottore to be part of the story. I want this to be a thing, and I believe it will be. Definitely after what Sandrone and Arlecchino were talking about at the end of Act 4. But I feel like it'd be in Luna 4. I feel like at the end of Luna 3, at the end of the interlude, we're gonna get a glimpse of Dottore, or a glimpse of maybe something he's saying, or like an introduction to what's happening, or like a hint that he's gonna be introduced, and then Luna 4 Act 5 for Nod-Krai, Dottore becomes part of it. That's what I think will happen anyway. But yeah, Dottore become part of the story, trying to get like the Moon Marrow inside the Traveler. Oh my god, it'd be so fucking good.
Godhood. Rerir would be the perfect test subject, a Conrian who merged with the immortality. The possibility is Ildatore. He's obsessed with Conria, cloning, artificial immortality, and godhood. Rerir would be the perfect test subject, a Conrian who merged with the Abyss and survived without fully decaying. And knowing his track record, manipulating Scaramouche and deceiving Sumeru's sages, it wouldn't be the first time he's hidden behind someone else's tragedy to conduct his own experiments. After all, his stronghold is somewhere in Nod-Krai. Or maybe there's a third option and it's Delindus' consciousness or something.
Nah.
But speaking of Harbingers...
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I think the Dottore one is the most promising and also the most exciting one for me. But also, yeah, I mean, one of the sinners being behind the scenes and seeing another sinner would be awesome, but I don't know. Just something about Dottore... yeah.
Let's talk about another one. The one I find myself liking more and more after every new patch. Genshin finally confirmed something we've been theorizing about for a long time. The connection between Sandrone and...
Yeah, so that's Sandrone. I was like, yeah, she has blue eyes, yeah. That's why I was like, wait, I think it was here in Brand's video. I was like, wait, she has blue eyes? Oh yeah, she does. I was like that. So that's Sandrone. I mean, I definitely see it. It's just, if she grew up like a normal child, like a normal kid, like a normal human, that means she's not a robot, right? Can robots grow up? I don't think so. So I think she's, I mean, if she is, so this is her, which I feel like confirms that she is human. In my eyes, anyway.
Guillotine. Alain was the brilliant Fontaine engineer who founded the Fontaine Research Institute of Kinetic Energy Engineering, responsible for much of the nation's technology.
Yeah, bro was so smart. He was so smart he couldn't come up with a better name, bro. A shorter name. Fucking hell.
Research Institute of Kinetic Energy Engineering, responsible for much
I mean,
of
you
the
can't
nation's
really
Fontaine
shorten that,
Research
so.
Institute of Kinetic Energy Engineering,
You can't really shorten that.
responsible for much of the nation's technology and automaton advancements. Sandrone knew him personally. She understood his ideals, his connection to Renee and Jacob, and how all three were driven by the same goal: protecting Fontaine, even if it led them down very different paths. According to legend, Alain retired in his later years, isolating himself in his workshop and dedicating the rest of his life to secret research. None of his final work was ever published, but evidence in his lab suggests that he built something. Or someone. Before his death, Alain asked Sandrone to destroy all of his manuscripts.
She agreed, but she read it all.
She agreed, but not before reading them herself, unwilling to let his life's work fade into obscurity. And here's where the theory comes full circle. While it's not officially confirmed, it's highly likely that Sandrone herself is that final creation, an automaton built by Alain Guillotine, modeled after his late sister, Marianne.
Oh, and that's how she's been able to live for so long. Her consciousness might have been built into a robot resembling her. Because obviously, here she's fucking a human being like him, right? Right? So it would make sense, yeah, if he built that first creation, and then her consciousness was like imported into this machine that resembles her. Yeah, that actually make that, I mean, yeah.
Her appearance and her obsession with perfection probably reflect the final of Leanne. Her appearance and her obsession with perfection probably reflect the final evolution of his genius and his grief. If she isn't that creation herself, then she likely knows exactly what it was. Perhaps the Kuvaki Design Experiment Bureau in Nod-Krai is part of continuing Alain's legacy? Since we were speaking of people moving in the shadows, there's one person whose story I keep circling back to no matter how far we go. Dainsleif. Was Dainsleif aware
You really have to say it like that?
no matter how far we
You're
go?
way too happy.
Dainsleif. Was Dainsleif aware of Rere's role in the Crimson Moon genocide? My quick answer, no. It doesn't seem like he was. From what we see in the Luna 2 quest,
so
Dainsleif believed Rerer was just an intelligence officer, not someone carrying out mass executions of innocent people. There's even a moment where Dainsleif asks Rerer if the Lindis knew what his real job was, and the tone of that question alone tells us everything.
I guess he's just saying that because he told Dainsleif and his friends, actually his friend is Dainsleif, that he did one job and told Thelindis he did another anyway. He knew his actual job and then said two different jobs to two different groups of people.
Nobody says committing genocide is a cooler job than being a royal guard. The biggest clue is in Rerer's own words. When he discovers that the Lindis was part of the Crimson Moon bloodline, he says,
What did he say?
What a fool I've been. Numbing myself with talk of justice.
When he discovers that the Lindis was part of the Crimson Moon bloodline, he says,
What a fool I've been. Numbing myself with talk of justice. Even imagining my friends would back me up.
which to me confirms that his friends, including Dainsleif, didn't know what was really happening. It's possible the massacre was a covert operation, hidden even from the king's closest men, or disguised through propaganda. But would King Irmin really keep it secret from his own captain of the Royal Guard? Absolutely. This is
100%.
King Irmin we're talking about.
I was literally just about to say this is King Irmin. I was like to say this is King Irmin we're talking about here, yeah.
Been sussing out Vedard? Absolutely. This is King Irmin we're talking about. The man who's been sussing out Vedrfolnir and eventually gouged his eyes out, based on suspicions that only Rerir seemed to know about. Later, when Dainsleif frees Vedrfolnir from prison, Rhine-daughter remarks,
You've been planning this for a while, haven't you?
That single line tells me that Dainsleif had already started losing faith in the king long before Vedrfolnir's punishment. He'd been watching Irmin spiral into madness, waiting for a moment to act. Now, I'm all for Dainsleif having a darker past, but based on everything we've seen in Luna 2, it doesn't seem like he knowingly endorsed genocide. Still, there's something deeper about Dainsleif that keeps pulling me in. At a crucial point in the story, Dainsleif opens
He might
a
have,
new deeper
he might have endorsed it. Yeah, it's like he yeah, he was probably like endorsing it unknowingly, like he didn't know what the fuck's going on.
It doesn't seem like he knowingly endorsed genocide. Still, there's something deeper about Dainsleif that keeps pulling me in. At a crucial point in the story, Dainsleif opens a moon gate. His title, the Twilight Sword, suddenly takes on a new meaning. Twilight is the phase between day and night, and that's what a moon gate seems to be, a liminal bridge between the light and the dark. If the Eclipse Dynasty had some power to manipulate portals or moon gates like this, Dainsleif could have also inherited that power.
But yeah, because if you haven't, make sure you watch my reaction to the Archon video, because that's where I found out that Dainsleif was the one that actually opened the gate. Because I always thought, like from the quest, there was Columbina who opened the gate, but Dainsleif was there to sustain it, like, and help her. So like sustain the gate. That's what I thought, but I didn't know Dainsleif opened the gate. Oh, that also said, Columbina did nothing, but I'm like, oh wait, no, she did tie him up and threw him in, so... But yeah, I did not know that. That was crazy.
Maybe Irmin's experiments with the Irmin Soul or the Dainsleif could have also inherited that power. Maybe Irmin's experiments with the Irmin Soul or the Abyss impacted Dainsleif. I just want to point out something real quick. We see 3 different colored moon portals. The Lindis' purple portal,
which I guess it was affected by the
Rayur's red portal, and Dainsleif and or Columbina's blue one. Those colors actually match the shades that Columbina's flowers turn. It makes me wonder if blue represents the purest form of lunar energy, especially since a similar color shows up in anything related to Irminsul. Red could symbolize abyssal energy, while purple might represent a fusion of the two, like how the iridescent moon eventually became the crimson moon. I'm still not.
And that makes sense why the red one is the one that Rarea opened, since he was corrupted by the abyss, right? That's when he became a sinner. And the purple one with Thalindis being a combination of the two makes sense, because obviously it was the Crimson Moon, using the Crimson Moon fragment to open the gate, and that was corrupted by the Abyss, and then Dainsleif opening it. I don't know, because he's not corrupted by the Abyss. I don't know.
Are you sure how well this theory holds up? Since I used to
that moon gate wasn't corrupted by the Abyss, or wasn't made using any bit of the Abyss at all.
Purple more strongly with the Abyss. Really sure how well this theory holds up, since I used to associate purple more strongly with the Abyss, but it's an interesting pattern to think about. The Ouroboros symbolism fits Dainsleif perfectly. Vedrfolnir's chess piece is shaped like the serpent devouring its own tail, a symbol also tied to Dainsleif's possible constellation. In alchemy, the Ouroboros represents creation and destruction looping forever. Vedrfolnir might represent cosmic recursion, time itself looping endlessly, while Dainsleif embodies mortal recursion, a man cursed to live through the same tragedy over and over, reliving the fall of Conria and other civilizations with no escape. But maybe Dainsleif is the key to breaking Tevat's endless loop. There's still so much we don't know about him, and honestly, I think I'm long overdue for a full Dainsleif video. But here's something I want you to think about. Ouroboros, the serpent that eats its own tail, is only mentioned by name once in all of Genshin Impact, in Before Sun and Moon. It was described as an imaginary serpent god once worshipped in Enkonomiya. So if Dainsleif's constellation is Snake Ring or Ouroboros, what does that make him? It would be incredibly ironic. A man who hates the gods, but is unknowingly the vessel for one.
That'd be cool.
If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in
I can't believe... You know that's the only reason she made her character look like herself. You know that's the only reason. Well, her art self, not her 100% actual self, her art self. Like this version of herself. Like, you know that's the only reason she made it look like herself, was to go to Dainsleif. Oh no, bro. That's crazy.
Video. I'm your Leafy Lore Keeper Mins. This video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? I'm like, oh, Min's leaf. Oh, fuck's sake. She needs to be stopped at this point, bro.
I'm your Leafy Lore Keeper Minslif, and I read the Genshin Impact lore so that you don't have to.
Thank you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, that was a really good video. I'll be honest, when I was like 10 minutes in, I was like, damn, this feels like it's gone for a while, but I actually went really quickly, holy crap. Personal life, you mean spending time with Dainsleif in the game? Yeah, we all know. But yeah, I really hope Rarea doesn't be redeemed. I really hope she does. Like, he doesn't. But But imagine Columbina's becoming a 4-star. Nah, she doesn't have 4 stars design. She does have detailed NPC design. But yeah, I hope everyone did enjoy. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. Obviously this video will be linked in the description. Make sure you leave a like and sub to Minsliff. And also, let me know what your guys' theories are, what's going to happen. Obviously, this video will be released after I watched the, this video is being made before the live stream, the Luna 3 live stream, but this will be uploaded after the Luna 3 live stream, so. Yeah, we'll see how well this video holds up, I guess. Both in my video and Minsliff video from the trailer. But yeah, I feel like the trailer, oh my god, I'm so excited to see the trailer. But also, I'm kind of like, I don't know, because I feel like it's an interlude. So I feel like not too much is going to happen. But also, by the way, this is before, see right here, the 20th of the 11th. It is not happening yet at 2:42. This is UTC +8. Alright, that's my time zone. This is before the live stream. I think Yehoda's going to get a story quest. I think Doran's going to have his quest integrated into the story. We're going to get a backstory of what happened after he was made and stuff. But then Yehoda in the second half is going to get her own story. That's what I think is going to happen with that. But I feel like it's going to be like, and I feel like with like the interlude, it's going to be like a celebration, but we already had a celebration. But so it's going to introduce Wanderer, which is going to be exciting. And it's going to be probably Wonder talking about how he wants to probably find Dottore and stuff. But other than that, I really don't really know what's going to happen, because we already had a celebration for defeating Revere. Well, defeating him. Like defeating a battle of him. So I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm expecting the trailer to kind of go crazy, but also not to go crazy. I don't know what to think, but yeah. Peace.